it's Nikki here. I hope you're well. I've got two resources for you, two things I want to talk about in today's Lunch and Learn. They are both designed to help you avoid feeling overwhelmed, which I know is so difficult at the moment. Everyone's a little bit overwhelmed, not surprisingly with what's going on, but also with uncertainty about what the future is going to look like, especially if you're running your own business and trying to get clients and navigating your way through this difficult challenge we're facing. And also, but I think generally, even without this lockdown, I think we all struggle with overwhelm because, you know, we are, this society that we're in, especially if you're running a business, is distraction city, isn't it? We are constantly bombarded with bright, shiny things to distract our attention from what we actually need to be doing in our business and in our lives. So often we want to be productive and we want to get things done, but there are so many options and so many choices, and we often lack a bit of clarity also about where we're going, that it can just result in non-action and just going around that, what I call the analysis paralysis roundabout, never actually taking an exit or making a decision because there are too many things to choose from and you're just overwhelmed. So often then we don't get anything done. And that is just such a shame because I know, and we all know that, you know, to succeed in business, you need to be constantly taking action. And if you can't take that action because you're overwhelmed and you don't know which road to take, then that's going to massively sabotage your success. So in today's session, I want to talk about two things you can do, or two things that I've come across that are really helpful to get you past that feeling of overwhelm and actually start to put some really productive habits in place. So the first one is Michael Hyatt's book, Free to Focus. Here's what it looks like. If you want to, I've got the link in below if you want to have a look at it and order it for yourself. Michael Hyatt is the founder of Michael Hyatt and Company in the States, a huge leadership development company. He's a very successful entrepreneur and leader. And this is his book in reply to many, many years of running his own business on how to be productive, basically. So it's a productivity system. And, you know, what I love about this particular book, there's lots of ideas and books on productivity. This particular book I love because he gives you some really actionable tools, and it's a whole system. And the whole idea of it is that productivity and avoiding overwhelm, productivity is not trying to squeeze in more stuff. That is not what productive actually means. It teaches you how to achieve more by doing less. And that is, I'm all over that because, you know, none of us have endless time or energy to be doing stuff that doesn't get what we want out of our, you know, doesn't get us to our goals. So instead, it's really focusing on getting the right things done, not doing more, but getting the right things done. So starting each day with clarity about your highest value priorities and spending as much of your time as possible in what he calls the desire zone, which is doing all the things you love and are good at. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. So there's three parts to this book, which I really like the way he's laid it out. The first one is to stop. It might seem counterintuitive to start being production by stopping, but actually, if you don't stop doing those marginal value activities, you're not going to have enough time to do what matters most. So there are three things in the stop section. The first one is to formulate, and that is getting really clear about why you want to be more productive. Is it that you want more freedom, that you want more time with your family or doing hobbies or whatever, or you want more success? So getting really clear about why you actually want this extra productivity. The second thing to do is evaluate. This is a really interesting activity, actually. So this is about looking at everything that you do in your day, in your business, I'm talking about in your day, although it could relate to other stuff, personal stuff as well. But this is about really segmenting your high leverage activities from your low leverage. So what that means is splitting all your tasks into 4 sections. The first one is called drudgery. I've done this actually. He gives you some tools as well to print off if you just sign up, and it's all free. So this is the sheet for the evaluation. Now, if you can see down here, you can't really see very well, but this is the drudgery zone down here. Drudgery is all the stuff you do that you don't like doing and that you're not actually very good at. So I filled mine in. Processes and systems, I'm pretty hopeless at that and I don't really enjoy it. Marketing analysis, Facebook ads, planning, I'm not very good at either. So all of these things go in my drudgery zone, right? They need to be done. Well, that's the next phase. Do we need to do those or not? But for me, I've put all the things I need to do in this bit, but I'm not very good at them, and I don't like them either. So that's the drudgery zone. The next one to be really clear about is, what's the next one? Disinterest, right? So this disinterest comes in this one here. So this is where you are quite good at it, but you're not very passionate about it. So I would say for me, that would be things like invoicing, content planning. I'm quite good at it, but bit blur. Actually writing blogs, I'm fairly good at it, I think, but not particularly passionate. Copywriting, website stuff, event management, repurposing, all of those things I've written in here, I'm pretty good at. I've learned how to do them, but I'm not particularly passionate about, so I'd rather not really. So that's your disinterest zone. And then you have your distraction zone, which is on the other side of things. I'm going to show you that because you can't really see. So distraction is where you really enjoy it, but you're actually not that great at it. But you kind of get distracted and kind of your sort of default would be going and doing this. So mine would be social media, for instance. I might not be brilliant at it, but I quite enjoy it, going scrolling and seeing what other people are up to. Like making quotes and images and things like that for social media. I quite like fiddling about with that stuff, but I'm not that great at it. I'm not a designer, so it doesn't end up looking that good. Zero, my finances and my accounting. I really quite like looking at the numbers, but I'm really not that good at it either. So there's tasks and things in there that just can distract you if you go down that rabbit hole and you're not particularly good at it. So it might be better off if somebody else does that stuff. And then there's your desire zone, which is at the top here. And that is where you're pretty good at it and you absolutely love doing it, right? So this is where, for me, it's talks and webinars, it's group teaching, it's making videos, it's my marketing, it's my podcasting, creating products and mentoring. Those are the things I absolutely love doing, and I feel like I'm fairly good at them. So those will go in my desire zone. Now, the idea is that you want to be doing like 80% of your time, be doing these tasks and not really the others. The others will come in sort of to your 20%. But it's a really good exercise to actually look at what you're doing every day and to put them in these categories. Now, the third part of this first stop part is to rejuvenate. And he talks, and I love the fact that he puts this in there because this is all about your self-care, making sure you're sleeping and stress, all the things that we tell our clients to do. But it's so, so important to be productive. We know that, don't we? To be productive, you need to make sure that you're replenishing, resting, rejuvenating. So he puts that in there, which is great. The next section of the book is about cutting. And this is about, cutting out is what not to do is just as important as what you actually do with your time, because most of the stuff that we're doing is, low leverage tasks, daily activities that we may not need to be doing, right? So the first section of this is eliminate. So we're looking at getting rid of all the tasks that are stealing your time, that you don't need to be doing, that are not actually getting you towards your goals. And this is all about saying no, that age-old thing. We're all people pleasers. We all feel a bit guilty if we're not helping people out. So we say yes to everyone and everything. And all that does is just cut down the time that we're able to spend on our own stuff. So saying no, setting your boundaries, creating what he calls a not to-do list, which I love. So what are those things that you're prone to say yes to that you really need to be saying no to? So create that not to-do list. The next thing to do is then automate. So we're looking at all those low leverage tasks, and trying to automate where possible. So this is getting time back. And what he uses for this are things like templates. So when you get emails that are, especially, with client, this is perfect for client work. And in the new clinical academy course that we're creating, we're basically, we've used email and client templates for years for things like, getting them on board. So this is what you do when you first get a client on board. We send them a templated email. It's exactly the same every time, maybe tweaks depending on what program they're going into. But it's got all their instructions, all their next steps. There is absolutely no point writing that out each time when it's the same thing. So we've templated it. We've templated all our protocols, our dietary protocols, our supplement protocols, all of that. So these are, and you're easy, like when you get an inquiry, you've got a template email that you can just whiz back. You can do it on shortcuts on your computer as well, or signatures. You can create one in your signatures as well. So that you literally just cut and paste a response, cuts out, it dramatically reduces your time spent doing admin, writing emails, all of that stuff. So templates, shortcuts, putting in a process for something that you can have a look at how you do something and then optimize it. And of course, technology is brilliant for that. Just a simple thing like, a calendar tool like Acuity or You Can Book Me, sending that link to your potential client rather than toing and froing on emails with different times of the day and whatever. So just all these automations can really massively cut down your time spent on these low leverage tasks. And then the third section of this cut section is delegate. And that is getting some of these tasks off to other people or other things. And that is all about, who to delegate to, what to delegate, and how you do that so that it works. And that may be, a VA that you could just employ for an hour a week that could get your social media posting done, or, help you with your list building, or, help you with your blogging or whatever. Or it could be, sending something off to Fiverr.com to get designed properly, whether, to save you spending 6 hours in Canva, for instance. So, these sorts of things, delegating tasks in that sort of maybe distraction zone or in that disinterest zone, because those are things that can really take up your valuable time and are probably better off being done by someone who has those skills. Because this, remember, is different for everybody. So what's in my drudgery may be in someone else's desire zone. And that's what we've got to remember, not to feel guilty giving these tasks to other people, because that might be exactly what they're good at and what they love to do. It's not the same for everybody. So, when I give my stuff to the VA loves doing the stuff that I don't like doing. So it's working out the best person for the job, and also, what you delegate. So that exercise is really useful for that. And then the third section of the book is start to focus on those high leverage tasks that add the value to your business. So that desire zone, but also the really big things that will get you towards your goal the most quickly. So that 80-20 Pareto rule thing. So you can, this is all about consolidating. So it's batching your work so that you can maybe do, client work in one stretch, admin in one batch, research in one batch, social media in one batch. So you're not constantly switching from task to task, because that drains your energy and it actually reduces your time and focus. So if you can batch stuff during your week, that's really going to help your productivity. And then really getting clear on your monthly, your weekly, and your daily goals. And what Michael Hyatt does, he said, is to prioritize the urgent and important tasks first. So you get every single day you have 3 goals, the big 3, he calls them, that are both urgent and important. And if you get those done, you've got 80% of your work done. And all the other little things, the low leverage stuff, can either get delegated, or you can just do them if you have time after your big 3. And this is what it separates the successful people from the not, in the way that they can focus on the really important stuff. Because we get so lost in the drudgery stuff, in the non-important stuff, because often it's just easier, isn't it? Or we've got a to-do list and we're not quite sure how to prioritize it. So it's a really, really, really useful book if you need some kind of help with productivity or if you get overwhelmed. So it's got some really good ideas. Now, number 2, amazing resource, especially when you just have that bout, if it's short-term or sudden overwhelm. This tool I've been using for many years. It's one of many's Overwhelm kit. It includes, basically, it's a step-by-step 10-step process to basically get you out of overwhelm and get you past it and back into productivity, or whatever. I think she calls it fruitfulness. And you can put a checklist on your wall as well. I'm going to put both of the links to these things I've just talked about in the comments. And obviously, if you've got any questions on anything, do let me know. That's it for today. Take care.